Increasingly, we're using CG and green screen. What are your thoughts, and when do you like to use these techniques for your own movies?
I love directors who really try to avoid it themselves and, like who think of any possible way of avoiding it. Because I think, when you spend a week in front of a green screen, I think it drains the energy of everybody, especially the actors, because you don't respond of ideas of, how the lens can skim the surface and how you might use the focus because of you're responding to a real environment. So I personally really not fond of it.
With Steve Jobs, you shot the 3 acts, one in 16mm, one 35, and then one digitally with the Arri Alexa.
It was kind of one of the first ideas which came to my mind is that Steve Jobs was taking us to a digital age. I felt like the 16, apart from helping the story of like advancing it to the digital age, I just thought it would also mirror the, the spontaneity of the early Steve Jobs, versus, I feel like with 16mm, you can very easily sling it around, put it here, put it on your shoulder. It affects the way the Steadicam works. The Steadicam is lighter and it feels a bit more sluggish to the Steadicam operator. So it feels a bit more spontaneous. So there's certain implications the technique brings with you.
You're trying to publicly paint me as a slut and a whore.
Believe me, I'm not trying to publicly do anything with you.
2 million people read Time. How am I
supposed to? It would be more
to...
if they put me on the cover, but Dan Cocky
I applied
decided
for
to
welfare
kidney punch
yesterday.
me. I'm sorry?
I said I applied for welfare yesterday. The Time article said your Apple stock was worth $441 million. And I wanted to ask you how you felt about that.
Well, I feel like Apple stock has been dramatically undervalued. This would be a good time to get in.
I loved the script and I read the script, but I could see like a week before we started shooting, Danny and me kind of getting nervous. Where are our moments to visually bring something interesting in? So that was kind of it was a strange experience because normally we look for the visuals and I didn't have that with that film. It was more about, that was blown away by the words. It was a very specific challenge. How do you best support the actors, giving the platform? And Michael and Kate, they had to remember so many words. So after 9 hours, they were just done. They were like computers shutting down. We had to accept that. We had to kind of give them the best platform for it.
What's the toughest part of being a cinematographer?
I think, like Seamus McGarvey said, having a strong bladder. And when you don't have, so you don't have to sleep off set.
Have any of you walked off a film because you disagree with the vision?
I had a standoff once with a director actor who I really admire and like, Michael Winterbottom. It was my second film. There was one scene where apparently I used too much lights. But it was a period film, all these little oil lamps. And he wanted just to use available lights. And I said, Michael, it's not going to work. You're just going to see a sea of little dots. No, we're going to test it again, and we just add more lights, and it's going to be fine. We just use available lights. And I was fortunate enough to that I had a test to show him that it didn't really work. I felt so exasperated at this point. And then we came back at the negotiation table, and we negotiated how I would light it and how many lights I would use. But it was like the first time I was so exasperated, and I really believed it wouldn't work, that I just had to say it. I think we all truly have to try to understand what the director tries to achieve and how he's trying to achieve it. But I think we all agree that I don't think that's always the case, that they're always right in every aspect. I think our job is also like to really support completely the vision, but also, be the devil's advocate. There should be some friction, I think, with all good creativity.